78% of Fortnite players are on controller. So why is 78% of Fortnite pros not on controller? Fortnite controller players have had a history of struggling against keyboard players. And today I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to do to learn to counter them in every way possible. If you want to become a pro player in the long run, make sure you go check out the Destiny Jesus Solo Superstars, where you're going to receive monthly coaching almost every single day from top tier pros such as Muzz, Bolts, Reet, and also top tier coaches such as BloodX, Destiny Jesus, and Sven. Check it out, link in description. It also helps support me personally, and I'll be on the course as well. That being said, let's teach you guys how to counter the keyboard players. First thing you need to understand is the controller players will always have an advantage when it comes to mechs. They might be the most mechanical controller player in the world. There will always be a keyboard player with better mechs than you. Therefore, in most scenarios against keyboard players, you're not going to be able to win on mechs alone. Notice how I said most cases. If you're an extremely mechanical controller player, you can definitely out-mech some keyboard players. However, in a lot of cases, i.e. most of them, the higher echelon of controller players will be the only people able to out-mech most keyboard players. So if you don't have the mechs in your favor, what can you do? This is where fighting sense comes in. You guys, as the controller players, have to have the best fighting sense in the world. I'm talking the best decision making, the best build moves. You have to play slightly slower, slightly more controlled, and also slightly more relaxed when you play. When you fight, you should not be going for like a ton of triple edits, quad edits in game. Trust me, it's not going to allow you to win more fights against these players. You want to be keeping your builds nice and fluid, nice and like controller-like movement. You want to be keeping them nice and simple, small edits like so. You might be thinking, how am I going to beat them if I'm doing it at such terrible mechanics, such small mechs that are just allowing me to get around the fight and not thrive in the fight? Well, this is where awareness comes in. Doing less of these quad edits, you tell me which of these has better awareness if I'm fighting somebody. This one, where I'm doing a ton of quad edits, triple edits, or, for example, what did I just do there? I just built up and I went to the side. Or this one. Which one am I going to have better awareness in, and which one's actually faster? The second one, right? And you still have protection from the cone. You can even go up like this. You can even place that and go up like that and place another cone. But you have so much better awareness over the players, and most keyboard players are overly flashy in games. So if you can just stay nice and consistent and nice and to the point, then it's going to be so much better for you in the long run against these more flashier keyboard players. And how can you use their flashiness against them? Well, pre-fires are one of the best ways to use a keyboard player's flashiness against them. The average keyboard box fighter will drop on a wall like so, and they will just, if they take the wall, they will just full edit it, usually like this, because that is the coolest edit. Now this is the most unprotected edit ever, especially if they're on a ramp. It is awful. And you, as the more consistent player, the more relaxed player, will have already built a box out here, and if they drop down, take this wall, you just hit the nice pre-fire, then have a double layer between you. The pre-fires can be so good for controller players because they do allow you to make up for having slightly less mechanics than the keyboard players. It's going to be super useful. Another good one is when they're spraying into the box. Let's say they're on the wall and you're inside the box and they're spraying in. You've got to wait until the moment it breaks, then shoot, then hold the wall. You can then either edit out the side, day cone them, and then take height. Or you can just run in their face after hitting them 150 because you have the upper hand damage-wise. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, keyboard players do have the absolute advantage when it comes to most things. One of those is resetting. They reset builds so much faster. Controller players, even with reset on release, has to press the edit button like this, and then they have to press the reset button. That's two buttons just to reset the ball. The keyboard players, on the other hand, if they edit something, you can just scroll wheel up and it's completely gone. They can just forever just sit there and reset the walls. So when they're in a box fight situation, the keyboard player can like edit, reset so much faster. They can just reset faster than the controller player could ever hope to reset, and they don't even have to be good at the game in the slightest. This is why as a controller player, you really do need to practice your resets a lot to be good at the game, to even keep up competitively with the keyboard players at all. You can do this by just editing all of these like so, which does help your edit timing, then just practicing resetting them super fast, like so. That's pretty fast. That's about as fast as it's going to get, and that shows that my resets on controller are very solid. I can reset quickly. If I make an edit here, I can have a reset in a second, less than a second, 0.2 seconds, and that's going to allow me to hit by less pre-fires by the enemy, or take less damage when I'm fighting. In my personal opinion, the key to beating these keyboard players is to look at what advantages they have and try to shorten the advantages. Their flashy building, they have the advantage of, and we taught you how to counter that. They have the advantage of having better resets. We taught you how to counter that by practicing even harder than them and relying less on reset plays. And now I'm going to teach you how to counter having worse aim than them. Your aim will be better if you're on console because you have that larger amount of aim assist. And not many people know, but you actually do get more aim assist on console than on PC. Obviously, there are a lot of other advantages that come with being on PC though, so it's not worth staying on console. However, they do have the advantage of aim. But even so with all that aim, your aim is going to be worse on controller because you only have a little joystick to aim with, and the keyboard has the entire mouse map. They have the entire mouse map to make flicks. They can aim a lot faster. They can flick up the height in a second. Console/controller players have to flick up like this. It's a lot slower. They have to keep better crosshair placement, and that is actually one of the best ways to manage having to aim with a joystick as opposed to having to aim with a mouse. Crosshair placement is your best friend. You're going to be able to not make a lot of flicks on controller, so having good crosshair placement, let's say there is an opponent in this box here and you think they're going to edit. Once you've set up here properly with a nice wall edit and stuff like that, you got to make sure that you keeping an eye on them through the wall. If they're like this side of the box, you keep an eye on them that side of the box. Most of the time when they're editing, the wall will not be completely opaque. It will be a bit transparent, so you'll be able to see through it. That is where your crosshair placement comes in. When you edit on a wall, make sure you always have your crosshair on the opponent. Trust me, it's so useful. Doing this strategy will allow you to get so many more pre-fires, because if you're looking like somewhere over here and they edit here, it's going to be so much harder for you to flick around and edit them like so and actually hit your shot than if you were here and they edit and you just hit the shot and then like move backwards. Now that is the way to completely counter the problem of having worse shotgun aim, but what about the problem of having the worst AR aim? Having the worst longer range SMG aim? For this, there's not really much you can do because long range aim assist absolutely sucks. You want to try practicing it a lot more. You've got to want it more, guys. Have passion. When I give you these tips, I want you to be aim training every single day. Long range tags with DMRs/ARs, anything that's in the game. Doing this is going to not improve your aim to the point where it's better than keyboard. However, it's going to put you more on a par to the people that don't practice their aim. You're never going to be quite as good as the keyboard players because if you're on keyboard, you can literally make micro movements out here. Let's say I'm aiming all the way over here. I can literally move my crosshair. I'm moving it right now by an absolute millimeter. If a player was jumping like 300 meters away, I could hit them. But on controller, making those same types of movements is so impossible. The smallest movement I can make is this one right here, and it's very, very jolty. However, the one thing controller players do have an advantage on aim related is SMG tracking aim in the box. You ever wondered why most players who are on controller win their aim duels? Reet never loses an aim duel endgame. If you guys play and you're on controller with a keyboard player, you guys should always be the one that's shooting. The keyboard player should be the boxer of the team. They should be the one tarping, hitting that little full box on someone like this and editing. They should be the editor. The controller player needs to be running behind them. They need to be getting a shotgun shot in and spraying. The spray, short range aim assist, is a lot stronger than long range aim assist, so it's going to be a lot easier to hit the shots in a laggy endgame compared to what a keyboard player could do. Sometimes a keyboard player, the amount of room they have can sometimes affect the precision of their short range aim, in my opinion. I often struggle as a keyboard player with the short range aim over the long range aim, which is actually super interesting in my opinion. Likewise, in a fight, always using your AR. Your AR is one of the best weapons you can have. Whenever you get into a 50-50 situation, let's say I accidentally drop down into a triple edit, I should always like take the 50-50 as a controller player, because especially if I have the exact same health as the opponent, because I know that I'm far more likely to hit like a double headshot with my AR than the enemy is. And if I aim duel every single day, that percentage goes up to a staggering high as a controller player. So what else does a controller player has complete advantage over? You're thinking building, you're thinking retakes. Face Sway was not a keyboard player, Face Sway was a controller player. So how can you take advantage of having great building? You can take advantage of this by actually taking height in game. Having great retakes and great builds and like a lot more smooth builds than the keyboard players is great, because it allows you to complete side jumps without stopping straight after, because when keyboard players do side jumps, sometimes you stop here and you have to completely stop before move forward again, the controller players can just jump and carry on moving. Therefore, you will always have the millisecond advantage as a controller player building up the high ground. Remember guys, not over with the editing like I'm doing at the moment. You've got to stay nice and precise. One final tip I have for you guys is making space. Making space is super useful for a controller player because they're going to have the disadvantage in box fights as we discussed, unless it's just a straight 50-50, which you do not want to be putting yourself in every single fight. I'm not glorifying the idea of a 50-50 here. You should always try win fights the absolute safest way possible. If you do have a health advantage, then a 50-50 is preferable. If you don't, then don't take it. Because even if the enemy takes this wall, if you have space, if they take it, you can just retreat back into the other boxes. You have space, you can double edit here, play some day cones, hit them while they're trying to get out of the box, then run around here, do this, boom, 200. If they don't 200 from that, you do this, boom, 200. My point is, you have a lot of space, you just need to play backwards, then take the offensive to them, which you've hit a nice crack. I appreciate you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you go check out the Destiny Jesus Solo Superstars. It'll be linked down in the description. And also watch this video right here. It is an absolute banger, and it is going to help you out greatly with your editing speed on controller and keyboard.